Episode 101. And today we have a special guest, and this is the father, of Dr. Umar Johnson, who is a well-known speaker, from around the world, pretty much been on the Breakfast Club, Blerd TV, and even we interviewed him, back in the day. But his father wants to, speak out about some concerns that he has about some things with his son. So we're going to open up the platform so he can do such. So, Mr. Johnson, you can introduce, yourself to the people.
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Jamaal Johnson. I'm Umar's pops, and I'm actually on here because I wanted to address, like you said, some things I think that have been taken out of context. I don't have any inside information about this money scandal, but I will have to say that I'm a little disappointed about some things also, and I want to voice my opinion about it.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely want to give you, the opportunity, to do so in front of our audience, today. So I guess the first, question I'll ask you is, what do you want to say to the people in regards to this whole FDMG Academy? Because the last date that we had was January the 1st, and Dr. Umar said he will be announcing a location, put a couple of pictures up, with a key going into a door. We all kind of thought that was the date. So after that, it seems like, you became vocal once again and spoke out. So what would you like to tell the people, in regard to that?
Well, let me say first and foremost that I have the utmost confidence that my son is going to open the school. I'm disappointed in the way in which he's disseminating the information about it, definitely with the lack of transparency to the donors and those who truly believed in this mission. I will have to be honest, I personally don't care much for the conscious community, quote unquote, whatever that is. I'm still trying to find out what that truly involves. But what I've known, I've been extremely disappointed. And this is an example of it right here, with this situation here. But also, I wanted to say that I think my son truly believes in what he's doing. I think he's not getting a bad shape from the community because I think he should be held accountable. I've watched videos of especially young ladies, talking about how disappointed they are in what has not transpired just in the announcement of the school and the money. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he isn't responsible because he made himself responsible. I'm not here to put any kind of, as y'all call it, shade on him in any way. I am a person that donated to the school. I'm a disappointed donor. This is a public issue, not a private one. And the community has a right to be heard. I've seen some of the postings since January the 1st, and only one I have seen has been pretty vague, speaking about paperwork or something to that effect. I haven't seen anything since then that refers to the school and the money. I haven't seen anything. And believe me, I've been combing the internet probably 23 hours a day now since this started. Reason being, because I'm really disappointed, and I really feel bad for the people who have put the effort, the time, and the money into this, and to me, have not been dealt with respectfully.
Right. Why not, just pick up the phone, and call your son as opposed to, going out, in the public? Cause I know that's a common question that people are going to ask you. Like, this is your, your son. Why don't you just call him and ask him, what's going on with the school? Can you expound on that?
Most definitely. Like I said, this is a public issue. And just because he's my son doesn't make it a private issue. I'm a donor like all the other donors. I want the same thing that he wants, or he says he wants for Black people. So there's no reason why this has to be a son-father thing. I realize that because I am his father, it may give me a little bit more entry in certain areas that other people may not get. But ultimately, it's still a community issue. I'm a community activist. I believe in going out there, doing for the community, producing for the community, and complimenting the community. I do not believe in insulting, embarrassing, or demeaning the community in any way. And frankly, that's what I see what's going on right now. And as far as a phone call, my son and I haven't spoken in years. We've seen one another in passing. Last time I saw him was at my mother's funeral last year. But we don't have dialogue, and I mean that's not unusual, especially in the Black community as far as fathers and sons. So it does have to be taken out of context. The bottom line is, he's a man, I'm a man. As a man, I want to get some accountability for where my money is, and understand something. This is our money. It's not his money. Okay, so we have a right to know where our money is, and it doesn't make us an enemy to him or his cause, as it appears to become across to me, that anyone that inquires about this money becomes, for some reason or another, an enemy to the cause. I'm not an enemy to the cause. I want the school to be built. I hope it produces the best for our children, but I do not like the way in which the people who have faithfully donated are being treated, including myself, about this.
Right. Do you think, that what makes you think, I should say, that Dr. Umar Johnson didn't so-called scam the people? What makes you think that? Because in all accounts, it's been more than one date that's been documented where he, promised the people that he will, but either getting in school, announcing a location, something. It's been more than one. So what makes you think that he didn't, take the money and, run off, like they say?
Because he's my son. That's why. That's it. I do believe that he's been raised with some empathy for people. He wouldn't be doing this work if he didn't. Now, I don't know what came off the rails in reference to his planning or his logistics or the financial disbursement of this money, but I truly believe that he's capable of still doing this. What saddens me is the fact that for some reason, I feel a sense of dismissiveness from him or his group or his company or whatever he has in reference to the people and how they feel about not being kept in the loop about what's going on.
Right. You said earlier on, Mr. Johnson, that you were against the conscious community. You weren't a fan of the conscious community. Would you place your son, Umar Johnson, in the arena of the conscious community? If so, was that the beginning of you, the two of you guys fallout?
You're very perceptive. That's exactly when it began. And I do place him, as he says, one of the leaders in the conscious community. And I don't know truly, and believe me, for years, ever since that mess that happened a few years ago on YouTube, I've been just in awe as to what this conscious community is all about and what you're trying to produce. Because frankly, I don't see them producing anything. Sure, they may be informing. Everybody's getting the knowledge about their history, but I do not see, practically speaking, what effect it has had on these streets. I don't see what effect it has in our neighborhoods. I hear y'all call yourselves queens and queens, but yet you still run around here just profanity-laced conversations with one another, still calling women the B word, calling men the N word. So, I mean, I have to admit, I'm just in awe of this conscious community on the negative vibe.
Right, because we've heard Umar Johnson say on numerous occasions throughout the years that he's completely against the conscious community. He denounces it altogether. So it's interesting to me that you put him in the arena, and that's the fallout. It's very interesting.
Well, let me ask you
sure.
this.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, though, I thought that was his platform. I thought he was. Isn't RBG part of the conscious community?
I mean, I guess so. I mean,
and did he make a statement of
being classified, but yeah.
Yeah. Did he make a statement more than once about being the king of RBG or something like that? He said something in his little rant that he had with us, that guy SETI, and he used the term RBG. So, and I've heard other people use it. And when I hear people talk, they speak about him in terms of the conscious community. So if I'm wrong about that, remember now, this goes back years, not just now. So when he gained a platform in the beginning, maybe he was a part of the conscious community.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about the business plans of the school, because like you said, you bought into the school, you donated, as well as a number of us donated to the school. What do you say as far as the business planning and the structure, in your opinion? How was that handled as far as Umar Johnson is concerned, in your opinion, and in regards to relinquishing information as far as the blueprint, staffing, administration, things like that?
I believe everything was done in good faith, and I think we gave him a check and let him cash it in any way he wanted to. I think that maybe if we didn't have so much faith in him, which we did, and a lot of people still do, that he would not even got probably a penny out of anybody else who would have came and peddled this idea. I think because of his involvement in the community and maybe his rise, the way that he rose, people felt that he was for real. And this young man, to tell you, he and I had some words about it in the past because of some things that my son had said and that I felt weren't being handled properly. Now, how many of us would truly release our funds to someone that hasn't shown us anything? Anything. You have to have a lot of confidence in someone to do that. And I think that, I'm not going to say that was our mistake. I think we just had faith. So there is no business plan that I know of. And I heard some statements he's made about giving it to certain people or if you pay a certain amount of money. I think that's ludicrous. I think that's totally ridiculous. And I heard something placed on the dollar value as to who would be privy to certain parts of the information. I hope that is not true. I hope that's not true. Because that was not laid out in the beginning when donations were requested. And I'm sure that the people who gave $1 gave it out of good faith and that they would be treated as well as somebody who gave $1,000. So there is no business plan to my understanding. There is no plans for anything on paper that I've seen. At one point I do believe that he said that, or this woman had said that they were going to produce the plan. I think it was a year or two ago, and that people would see something. Well, nothing has transpired. So I think that, I'm hoping that all this is taken care of before he builds a building. I hope he's not going to put the building up and then say, hey, here it is. And then everybody's supposed to say, oh, we're all good now. No, that's not how you do business. There's a young man that did a video, I don't know if you've seen it, where he's laughing at people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was extremely insulting. Now, I'm not saying my son had anything to do with that, but the fact that people have gotten to a point where they're privy to information that we're not, to the point where they make fun of those of us who don't know, I just think that's intolerable.
Why do you think that people should continue to still have faith in Dr. Umar Johnson after numerous, countless broken promises? This being your son, you know him more than we do. Why should people continue to have faith in him?
I think that they should recognize first and foremost that there's something wrong here. Okay, for whatever reason, a lot of the people who follow him see nothing wrong in what he's doing. And first, they need to recognize that. And recognize that there are people who are hurt and disappointed about this whole thing. That being said, until such time that someone produces one piece of paper or one video or something that my son has shown a withdrawal and purchased something that was outside the realms of this school, I do not believe that he is quote unquote stolen his money. And no one has yet produced that. Now they refer to different extracurricular activities he's been involved in. They speak about his travel. They may even speak about the clothes he wears and the cars he drives. But yet, no one has said that they have undeniable proof that that is being purchased with the FDMG Academy money. And so as a result of that, I think we should all have faith, but like everything else, you have to trust but verify. And the verification is not coming through. And that's the problem.
Why do you think Dr. Umar Johnson, with that being said, hasn't showed the ledger of the money? Because the last that I heard, maybe 2 years ago, Dr. Umar said that he raised about $700,000 or $750,000. Why not just show the people, like, look, this is the money, I haven't touched it? Because without him showing that, then you leave the door open for people to come out, like you just said, to say, okay, he don't really have a so-called job, so he must be spending the donation money. What do you think about that statement?
I think you're 100% correct. I totally agree with you. And that's one reason why I came out. Just like when I came out with some other inappropriate things that I saw. This is inappropriate. And I don't think that I have to be his father to speak on this. I think that just as another black man is disillusioned by someone who claimed they were going to do something, and it didn't come out to nothing. I think that this needs to be spoken upon. Now, as far as his motive for not being transparent, I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. Knowing my son, I the fact that people are reinforcing this behavior is one reason why I believe he continues to do it. I think if people would realize that this is not harmful only to his supporters, but it's harmful to the whole Black community, okay? And until they take that upon themselves and realize that and act for the benefit of the community and not themselves, or not just for the image of a Dr. Umar, until they do that, he's in his comfort zone. Just like Trump. I mean, these guys get in their comfort zone, and they're human beings just like us. So long as they still have a support base, they're going to feed that base, I believe.
Speaking on the school and speaking on Umar Johnson and his field in clinical psychology, in particular with children, can you speak on, to your best of your knowledge, Umar Johnson's history with clinical psychology with children, and when the last time he practiced with children?
No.
Can you tell us the last time he was a principal in a school, and what school that was?
I'll reiterate again. When he got involved with the conscious community and things of that nature, he was an adult. He did what he wanted to do. He's a grown man. He did not update me on everything he was doing. Frankly, I was shocked when I saw him in all his glory. I had no clue that this is what he had amounted to. Okay, because I travel quite a bit. I had my own personal life, stayed pretty busy. So when I saw what I saw, I was just in a gas. I was aghast by it. And that's why I spoke out for the first time back then. And as far as his credentials, look, I attended my son's graduation. And I'm not going to go through all that again. I've been at his graduation. I was there. I've graduated from college. I realized that you could walk without your paper. I know that. But I had no reason to doubt that he had his degree. Did I see it? No. Do I doubt it? No. That's the best I can say.
Okay, with that being said, how do we sell to our mothers and our parents out here that he's qualified to take care of our young Black boys in particular when the school is up, if the school is up?
I personally can't sell that. I can't sell that any more than I can sell that school. I'm not on the end like that. I'm going to be frank with you. Mm-hmm. And I'm somebody who puts it out there what I know, and maybe there's some things you don't want me to know. The bottom line is this doesn't help the situation. So whatever people are saying negatively out there is being reinforced from his lack of, first of all, his lack of transparency, but secondly, to me, this lack of empathy for what's going on with the people out here.
Do you think, does Dr. Umar Johnson look at you now as the enemy for trying to hold him accountable? Was that a fair statement?
That's a more than accurate statement. More than accurate. And it's not true. I love my son. We've had our issues. And I mean, he's really disappointed me in some things. I guess, y'all are young, but I know you have children. So mm-hmm. You can just imagine how you would feel if you sent your kid to school and he comes out with a doctorate degree. And now here he is being treated almost like somebody not with a third grade education. Okay? It's extremely disappointing. But I do know he has the tools to do what needs to be done. I just hope he applies it soon.
So it's safe to say this is pretty much, a cry out to your son to pretty much do the right thing. Because I could sit back and say, I can't imagine my father coming out in the public no matter what. But I guess it's to the point now with you, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you feel like you're trying to save your son. Is that correct?
Well, let me say it like this. I retired about 10 years ago. And when I retired, I took up the mantle of activism. After I raised my daughters, my remaining younger daughters, I stepped on out into the streets. And I've been out there ever since. Okay, I've been out there with the marches, the protests, the funerals, you name it. And that's from here to the other side of the country. I take it very seriously. I take our communities very seriously. A few weeks ago, we had the David Fatah Peace Weekend, where we were out in the streets of Philadelphia trying to encourage young brothers to put the guns down, at least for the weekend, cut some of these killings down. So I'm speaking as that person right now. Okay. Now, do I care about the safety of my son? You doggone right. I've heard videos made threatening him. People have told me personally that if they see him, they're going to get with him. I mean, all I can say is, I hope I'm there with him so he and I can get with them together. But if not, I don't want nobody hurting my son.
Right.
But at the same time, he is a grown man. He's not mentally deficient in any way. So he knows. And he's from Philly. I mean, you don't do this. That's it. So he knows that. And I guess I'm not crying out anymore. I'm shouting out. I'm shouting out now. I cried before. Now I'm shouting out to my son. I'm saying to him, stop this. Okay, do what's right by the people.
Would you say that knowing your son, do you think that he maybe got in over his head and just maybe afraid to come out and just tell the people like, look, maybe, the money has been misappropriated somehow, or I can't find the right school, something. Instead of me coming out, I'm just going to, not say anything. Do you see that, playing out here by any chance?
What I see is what I see in most situations that I'm not aware of. Okay. I don't call my son a scammer, but I've known scammers. This looks like a scam. Okay. But I don't believe this is a scam in any way, shape, or form. Because I don't believe that. I don't think that he's speaking out like you just said, because the money's still there. Okay. I don't think he misappropriated the money. I just think that he obviously isn't using good business ethics by not telling people where their money is. I'm going to keep reiterating that and hopefully get it in the heads of his donors. This is your money. I don't think that he's afraid of coming out in any way about anything. But I'm telling you again, his base supports what he's doing. And I don't know why they are, but they are. And if they do, you tell me, what would be his motivation? If his base is with him, that's it.
What was I going to ask you? Do you see a situation where your son apologizes for this situation and like tells the people, okay, like Oga said, the money was misappropriated. I may be a little bit in over my head. Here's the money, people. I'm going to get it to you as best as I can. I might miss a couple people, but please be patient with me. I'm going to give you guys every penny of what you gave back. Would you forgive him? And do you think the people would forgive him if he came out and said that? And do you see him doing that in any kind of situation?
I wouldn't do it. So I don't think he should do it.
Okay.
Okay. About the money. What I would do, and I hope he does do, is set forth the plan, set forth the ledger for the funds, bring everybody up to date on what's going on, and get it done. Now, he's going to have to take an L on the fact that he hurt, disappointed a lot of people. But that does not take away the fact that we still need this building and we need this school. And now, I heard someone say, right plan, wrong man. Maybe so. I'm not the one to say that. But I do believe that there is some humble pie, finally, that needs to be eaten. Because I'm going to tell y'all ain't down with no humble pie. I don't see it rarely ever with this conscious community. And I don't know why. But there's definitely some humble pie that needs to be eaten before everybody forgives and forgets.
I got to ask you this. It's been 10 years. So this is what the people, speaking for the people, 10 years, broken promises. How could this not be a scam? Another broken promise, January the 1st. And it's even brought us to I pretty much came into this whole, higher self. So what they call, watching this brother, he opened me up. Your son opened me up to a whole new way of thinking, I should say. Now to see this, I'm very disappointed because I've seen him with a lot of speeches, talking about different characteristics of a leader. And I will measure myself by that. So, but to see this, you can't help but call it a scam. How is this not a scam after 10 years?
Okay. The reason it's not a scam to me one thing is I like proof. That's one reason I got a problem with the conscious community, because y'all do a whole lot of rhetoric. Okay, and I've seen this growing up in the 60s and 70s and a little bit of the 80s. Okay, everybody got all this rhetoric that gets you mostly charged up. Now you're pissed off at the world and you turn on your own people on the street, because you're not turning on the people that you claim that's causing you all this grief and upset. Okay, as a result of that, it stirs up that emotion. And then you put that on top with the knowledge that you didn't have. Okay, now you're really fired up. But the bottom line is, you still have to get proof of these things that you think you are defending. I think you went out, my man. Are you out?
I'm here. Sorry about that.
Okay. You still have to get proof on these things that you defend. Okay? And a lot of this stuff, I haven't seen the proof. I've seen things put together just like they did back in the day. You know, you could get the alphabets and the numbers and get things that look like they fit in. But the reality of the fact is, a lot of that stuff is conspiracy theory to me. Okay? Now, y'all, because I'm going to say y'all, because I've been attacked. My generation has been attacked. And because I'm Umar's father, people come at me straight up for the crack era and everything. Y'all wasn't there for us. Y'all left us hanging. Now, okay, okay, get the napkins. Let's call it a day. Okay, the thing is this. Y'all tolerated this more than me, okay? Because, I did my little piece and then I was out. But y'all sat there and watched year after year after year after year go by and then hold them accountable. Now here it is, the 10th year, everybody wants to start crying. Frankly, you built a monster. Now you got to deal with it. I'm coming in saying it's not ethically, morally correct. And that's what I'm concerned about. Because a lot of people are hurting. They are disappointed. They are truly disappointed that this is happening. And that hurts me. And that bothers me. That pisses me off. Because I know some guys my age that have said, if this had been anybody else, we'd be trying to find your son. So I'm saying you got to take ownership, though, for the fact that y'all supported this. This isn't the first time he made an announcement, didn't keep up to it. Am I right?
You're right, but with that being said, what do you expect, the people to do? The donors, we rule out physical. Obviously, that's not going. We don't want that to happen. We always say we don't want to call the police or anything on our brother. What do we do? Just keep making videos? Well, like there has to be somebody, who can get through to Dr. Umar. But go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you, this is what you need to first do. You need to recognize that he was a man. He is a man. He's a person. He is not all this glam and glory any more than Elijah Muhammad was, Farrakhan is, Jesse Jackson Doherty was, any of these people, Martin Luther King, they were still people, right? They still had their challenges. They had their imperfections. He's no different. As a result of that, you have to treat him that way. You can't keep watching things, but yet not act upon them, not try to correct them because of the title of who he is, because then you're not even benefiting him. Because if you give him 10 years of support and you've seen him doing all these things that aren't right, then how are you going to come back now and say, guess what? Let me show you this one thing you've been doing wrong. But it's been 10 years, you let me do it. Now you want to come and spank me for it? You see what I'm saying? So, repetition is the mother of all skill. So the skill is in place. Now y'all have to unravel that skill that he has that's allowed him to believe that he can treat y'all like this. And I think the first thing we need to do, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Everybody that truly believes that this is a community project, everybody that truly believes that this is their money, they need to come out and say it. Not with all this profanity, not with no threats, not with all this, I don't even know if y'all gangsters or thugs anymore. I don't know what y'all call yourself, but that stuff ain't down. We ain't down with all that. But you need to come and hold him accountable for what he's not doing. And until you do, as a collective, I don't know, my man. I don't know what else you can do. I don't want the law involved. Now, I know there's a woman on this thing that just said, look, lock this dude up. That's all to it. We want him in jail. I don't want to visit my son in the joint. I'm going to tell you that right now.
What do you think about that? Because that's the, on the internet, who makes son daughter. I mean,
I
not
know, look,
videos about your
I done
son.
asked me already a few times.
Right.
I mean, but I injected myself in this, and I know it, and I got guys who say, man, look, you shouldn't do that. And I understand where they're coming from, but see, that's not their son. You understand? Nobody out here is running their mouth off to me has their son out there in public getting daggers thrown at him, getting things said about him. And I got to admit, he's said his own little set of lies too. But the bottom line is, that's still my child. So I'm going to try my best to balance the situation, and I'll take whatever comes, her or whoever else comes at me. But the facts are the facts, and the fact is, my son is not handling this appropriately, but I don't want to take away from anything that you admired about him. Like I said, we're flawed. Well, this may be one of his flaws.
How much longer should the people wait though? Like, I mean, like we said, it's been 10 years. How much longer would he have to drag this thing along for you? So, you know what? My son may have just scammed, close to $1 million out of the people. I know it's a tough question, but.
Well, I'm not going to declare this a scam, like I said, until you prove to me that he spent the money. That's all I can say. Now, if you want to find ways of making him reveal that money, there are ways to do that, legally and otherwise. But until you prove to me that he spent one dime of that money, I cannot call this a scam.
Father to father, I can appreciate where you're coming from, and I understand it. And obviously, you've been a father way longer than me. I have 2 children, 10 and 3, so way longer than me. That being said, as a businessman and just as a man who put money into this project, what is the end result in your estimation of all of this? What do you see this ending? How do you see this ending?
I see this ending with my son doing the school like he said he would. I think that, unfortunately, he's going to lose a lot of supporters. But I hope that ultimately he puts this school in the hands of a council or a board and doesn't make it just about him. I think that may be the number one problem with this whole venture, is that it appears to be beginning and ending with him. And I think that once this thing is sorted out amongst individuals, not just one individual, then it will come to be. Now, I do truly believe, and I have no inside knowledge at all, and I have no reason to lie to you, but I truly do believe that he's going to get this school up. I do not believe that we, not y'all, we should not sit on our hands waiting for him to continue to bait us with announcements anymore. But I don't know, and I reached out to your elders, they call them, in the conscious community. I'm telling you, I've reached out. I've heard from Phil Valentine once. I'm serious about this. Yeah. I reached out to them in the past about some of the behavior and some of the things that I see, because I guess I'm just going back to old school. Young boys get out of hand, you put them in check. And I'm like, who's putting my man in check? Now, somebody may say, well, you as Pop. Well, you know as well as I do, a lot of people feel that if you're not of the conscious community, you're the enemy. So, okay, so here you are of the same belief. So how come no one can put these guys in check? So I'm hoping that one of these elders will come out, pull his coat, and say, look, this is not how we treat our people, man. That's what I'm hoping.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just to wrap this thing up, man, let the people know, if you can, tell the people anything that you would like them to know or to do in closing with this whole Dr. Umar Johnson scandal.
I want them to know that I believe my son was and is sincere in what he's doing. But I also believe that somewhere that he misstepped. Now, for a lack of knowledge. I mean, you can't be the jack of all trades. And maybe he thought he was. But I don't believe he spent the money. I have never seen or heard from anybody that I know that he shown any way that he's lavishing out on this money. And I'm not saying that you should still wait, but I am saying that if you are of the conscious community or his supporters, why not reach out to these elders? Why not reach out to the people who keep things in line, assuming that you have these kind of people? I don't know if you do or not, but I would think y'all would want to deal with it in-house before it gets taken care of out-house. But it is going to get taken care of.
Yeah, that's definitely a fact. That's all I got.
Yeah, indeed. We appreciate your time, Mr. Johnson. Thank you for being as candid as possible, and thank you for taking the time out and speaking on this. We sincerely appreciate it, for sure.
Thank you, too. Y'all take care now.
Yes, sir. Peace.